Can you tell us a bit about the work that you've done previously?
That's a very difficult question because I've been doing all kinds of work, at least in terms of material. But my general interest has been an interest in science fiction, and my access to science fiction has been mostly Western science fiction.
So like movies and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, movies, mostly books, but books that date back to the 60s or 70s, and more like cyberpunk as a genre is something that I was really into. And that sort of filtered into my practice. So as a student, I was working a lot with photographs and photography. And that was also a way for me to kind of research. So that and I would say religion, both kind of parallel to each other. And I also prefer not to say science fiction, and maybe something like speculative fiction is a better term to work with. Also, I feel like now, like talking about the future has sort of become really boring and outdated. And all those fantastical ideas of the 70s are sort of happening as we sit and speak right now. So it seems like there's a lot of imagination that has been quenched from what could be the future. And this seems more like a time of crisis.
What are you using in terms of inspiration for your next project?
My last project was in Japan, which was awesome because I've always wanted to visit Japan. I was working at the Fukuoka Asian Art Museum, and so I wanted to make something. I couldn't send something in space, so I figured I could send something from space back on Earth. So we kind of worked on something that looks like a space probe. And this was inspired by a lot of like news clippings or like media memes, basically like a lot of UFOlogy. So this is something that kind of sits between science and spirituality and belief and faith systems, and also because it's mostly hearsay and conspiracy theories, it's a really interesting territory to look into. So I've been interested in that particular genre. So I was collecting clippings of these things called mystery balls, which was actually just space debris from NASA's crafts from space. And people thought they were UFOs or extraterrestrial objects. And so I started like reading into it and picked up on it. And of course there were lots of instances in Japan as well. So I created like a direct link with it, and so we recreated a space in the museum where it seemed like a massive 8.5 feet boulder or like a metallic...
Like a crater?
Well, not a crater, but it was like a big metallic ball or a space orb, you could say, that kind of fell into the museum. And it had a little opening that you could kind of interact with, so you duck your head in. And we had like these sounds that were pre-recorded inside the sphere. So in the same vein, I wanted to kind of recreate these space orbs or mystery balls and have them drop all over the globe. The difference being that I'm working in reverse, knowingly. So now we're manufacturing another space, which is going to be sitting in the new El Cercal Avenue.
In the extension?
Space. Yeah.
So these images are your reference points?
Yeah. So kind of taking off from where I was before, in terms of plonking those space probes in different parts of the globe. We're working within the construction site at El Cercal right now. So the good thing is that it already looks like something happened.
That's perfect.